main propaganda that we have to brainwash you against is the truth. Because there's nothing wrong with being brainwashed. It's being brainwashed with the Most High and truth. Okay, you got to fix it, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're going.
This is about the Lord, right? Colossians chapter 1, verse 13.
Yeah.
Who have delivered us from the power of darkness and have translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son.
Right, and has translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son, which is Yahweh Shai. Go on.
In whom we have redemption through his blood,
Right.
even the forgiveness of sins.
Even the forgiveness of sins. So through Yahweh Shai, we're going to be redeemed and we're going to be translated from this society to the next world. Because the thing with yourself, right? I don't think I told you this before, but you're under a covenant, and that covenant hasn't been activated yet. And that covenant is going to be you basically having all of these nations bow before you. That's your God-given right. Give me that in Genesis, 26. Because really the truth of the matter and the reality of the matter, let's do away with the shenanigans on the media, TV, all of this stuff. Let's do away with all of that. When we tap into reality and we read the Bible, which is the book of reality, the book of the so-called black man, as well as, is that the reality of the matter of the fact is we're far superior than these other people. That's why we can sing better, we can move better, we can dance better, we can make love better. You know what I mean? There's so many things we can do better. So what does that solidify? That solidifies that we're above all of these people. Go on, brother.
It's Genesis 27 and 28.
Right.
Therefore the Most High give thee of the dew of heaven and of the fatness of the earth and plenty of corn and wine.
So our blessing was to get the fatness of the earth, meaning the best parts of the earth, the most abundant parts of the earth. Okay, you can grow food galore, like even in Jerusalem. Jerusalem is like that because Jerusalem is known as the Fertile Crescent. Like you can grow a lot of stuff there, man. Because the soil over there is so sensitive and rich that you can drop one sort of seed down there, it'll grow. You know, and milk and honey too. Go on, bro.
Verse 29. Let the people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee.
Right.
Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee.
And that's your God-given right. So, like for example, when we look at the Queen of England, if you can fathom it or not, you're better than her. The Queen of England, Prince Charles and all of them, they should be bound before you. You shouldn't be bound before them or going before them to anything because they're slaves. They're your future slaves, man. All of these other nations, let me turn this around real quick, man. All of these other nations, now I got it, please. The water, thank you, man. All of these other nations that you see, they're going to be your future slaves, man. And their purpose is going to be based on doing exactly what you tell them to do. Okay? And the reason, you go on, brother.
Because going back to the point about worshiping the Lord, it says in whom we have redemption through his blood, even the forgiveness of sins.
And who were the only people to be redeemed? The Israelites. The whole world wasn't to be redeemed, which that's a false teachings. Go on.
Who is the image of the invisible God?
Right.
The firstborn of every creature.
He's the first begotten spirit out of every creature. Go on.
That's the point that because he said that the Lord, he's just a prophet. He's not God. He's not the son of God. He's just a prophet. That's what the Muslims say. But they don't understand it. They don't understand that the one who they call Jesus Christ, he's the firstborn of all creation. Because when the Lord spoke his word, that was the Lord, that was Yahweh Shai, and created everything. So he was the first creation. And through him, through the word, everything else was created.
Beautiful.
You understand what I'm saying?
John 1:1.
So exactly. So I said, the firstborn of every creature. For by him were all things created. So it tells you, for by him, by the word, were all things created.
So what are we to do, brother? Worship him.
Right. So it says,
hand in hand.
what's the scripture says? And the word became flesh and
That's in John 1:1.
Let me get this to mark it out.
Yeah, that's the maximum amount of people that's on the earth. Come on. Yeah, really what that is, that's the Hebrew, the Lashon Kodash. The so-called white man, his real name is Edom in English, but in Lashon Kodash we call him Adam. which means red. Other one. Yeah, that's the Hebrew, which means he's red. That's what it means. He's the red man. Yeah, go on.
I got more. It says John 1 verse 14, and the Word was made flesh, and right. That's, in fact, let me start from the top, because there's in John chapter 1 verse 1. In the beginning was the Word,
Right.
and the Word was with God,
Yeah.
and the Word was God.
Right. And
Now,
that's Yahushua, because he's the word. It tells you that in what is it, Psalms 47, I'm the word in the word. What is it, man? I'm throughout the whole book is written of me.
right, but it says and the Word was God, right?
Yeah.
So the churches will think that Jesus is God. It
Right.
says the Word was God, but
Right.
they don't understand in the Hebrews, and the Word was Allah, which means a power.
Right, a power. Good.
Okay, so and the Word was with the powers Alahayim,
Yep.
and the Word was a power.
Yep.
Okay, so and then it goes to verse 14, and the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld His glory.
Meaning
and
he became carnal. Okay, he was carnal flesh. Going.
the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. Right. So go back to verse 16 in Colossians chapter 1 verse 16.
But you know what though, brother, we're not gonna go there yet because I want to show the brother that he's under a covenant and
Yeah,
what
all right.
includes the covenant. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, the point of the matter is, man, this whole entire word is of Yahushua. So when we read these scriptures and we bring them out, when we come out here to warn brothers like yourself, we're doing it because Yahushua commanded us to do it in the spirit. You know, go on, brother.
Genesis, that was what Genesis.
No, read that again. Read it again.
Back to Genesis 27 and 28. Therefore the Most High give thee of the dew of heaven and of the fatness of the earth and the plenty of the corn
Right.
and
So
wine.
he gave us the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth, going and plenty corn and wine, going.
Verse 29. Let people serve thee and nations bow down to thee.
Right. So all these other nations are supposed to bow down to you. Go on.
And let thy be Lord over thy brethren,
Yep.
and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee.
Yep.
Cursed be every man that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee.
Right, and you know what? To a certain degree, that kind of somewhat still stands because all of the other nations that downtrodden us throughout the process of the ages and stuff like that, what's going to happen to them is basically they're going to go into slavery and they're going to be under a curse. The same curses that we're under is going to return back on them. That's in Deuteronomy, I believe it's 30, brother.
Yeah.
You can get it for me.
I'm getting it right now.
I tell you what, brother, you get it. Deuteronomy 30 and
Verse 1. Stop.
huh?
Stop at verse 1.
Okay. Because our people, they're under a curse, and the main curse that we're under is knowing the fact that these Edomites that you see walking before you, they're ruling over us and they're administering the laws on righteous dealings and us having to be involved in this wicked society, okay, and not being able to prosper in it, you know. But yeah, we're gonna get this though. 30 verse 1.
It's at Deuteronomy 30 and 1. And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessings and the curse
Right, the blessings and the curses going.
which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind
Like what
among,
we're doing right now. Read it again so that the brother hears.
which I have set before thee,
Yeah.
and thou shalt call them to mind
Yeah.
among all the nations,
Uh-huh.
whither the Lord thy power have driven thee, and thou shalt return unto the Lord thy power, and shall obey his voice,
No,
Fine.
go back up again. Go back up again. Where it says they shall call to mind.
and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations.
Right, and they shall call them to mind among the nations. And
Right.
even certain guys that are not a part of the truth, like Tommy Sotomayor, he always talks about the issues. And you know Tommy Sotomayor. Are you familiar with Tommy Sotomayor? Okay, well you got certain, black, YouTube, speakers and stuff like that. They talk about things concerning the issues of so-called black people and all of that stuff. So that prophecy is coming to pass even on that level. But really the men of the Lord are going to declare to you why we fell down from grace and why we're going ultimately.
Right.
Going.
And thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations.
So we're calling to mind among all the nations on why we're in the position that we're in right now. Go on.
Basically, the truth is coming up.
Yeah, the truth is coming out. Yeah.
Whither the Lord thy God have driven thee, and shalt return unto the Lord thy God,
Yep.
and shalt obey his voice according to all that
Yep.
I command thee this day,
Yep.
thou and thy children, and with all thine heart,
Yep.
and with all thy soul.
And that's what's going on right now, because you got young men, because the Bible's really dealing with young men. You're gonna have Israelite young men that's gonna return back to the Lord, and ultimately they're gonna call to mind of the things that have been done, you know, in terms of why we're in the conditions that we're in, the curses, etc., so to speak. So that's what's going on right now.
And they're gonna repent.
Yeah, they're gonna repent, return back to the Lord. Go on.
Verse 3. Then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee,
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna pull back the captivity. That's what it means.
Right.
Go on.
and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy God have scattered thee.
Right.
Who's gonna gather the nations? Get me Isaiah 11.
I'll get.
Okay. Yahweh Shai is going to return through the world called Jesus Christ. He's going to gather back us that have been scattered amongst the nations.
Got that.
Go on.
This is Isaiah 11, verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people.
Because what was the first time during the time of Moses? Go on.
Which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar.
And Elam is the East Indians.
Right.
Yeah. You got amongst our people amongst them too. That's going to be delivered. Go on.
And from Shinar and from Hamath. And
I think it's where's Shinar, brother?
So Shinar, that's like Babylon.
That's
around
what I
them
was
regions
thinking.
there. Babylon, Shinar.
Yeah. So that's Iraq. You got Israelites in Iraq.
Yeah.
Go on.
And from Hamath. And they don't look like Israelites.
And they don't look like Israelites.
They look like Arabs in them.
Yep.
And from the islands of the sea, and he shall set up an ensign for the nations,
And standard. Go on.
and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel.
And how is that happening? Through the spirit, through the word, because you got brothers from even in Russia. You got brothers in South Africa, West Africa, coming to find out that they're Israelites because of us bringing out the word to them.
Come on.
You see, so that's happening already. Go on.
And shall assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah.
And gather together the dispersed amongst Judah, which Judah represents your tribe, which is what? Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. But you're from the tribe of Benjamin, though. But you're still of the kingdom of Judah, that they will be dispersed. But ultimately, the Lord is going to use the word to bring the children of Israel back to him. And then physically, he's going to gather the Israelites from among the places which have been scattered
By Yahweh Shai.
by Yahweh Shai.
Dispersed from Judah from the four corners of the earth.
Yeah.
This is Matthew 24 verse 30. And then 24 verse 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming
They shall see the Son of Man coming
in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
Right.
And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
That's right. So this is about the elect.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know where you stand in all of that. Only the Lord knows. But we're really out here for the elect. We're not out here to save the majority of our people. As I think we went into it earlier before, months ago. I was showing you that the 2/3 of our own people, they're gonna die.
Right.
Basically. But you're gonna have the elect of our own people that come forward to the word of the Lord, so to speak. Because the thing about it, it's not about you worshiping us. We want you to worship Yahweh Shai to seal your salvation. That's the end all be all.
Right.
You know?
Just go back to that.
But yeah, read that verse again, brother, in Isaiah 11.
Go back to Deuteronomy, dude. That was a good one, man.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, come.
Would you want me to go? Isaiah 11, yeah?
Yeah, read that one more time, and then, brother, if you can get me.
Question: How long are you planning to stay?
What time is it now? I think it's about.
It's only because I would like for someone to come and witness this thing. I
Okay. Oh, you got a friend. Yeah, you told me you had a friend in it. Yeah. Yeah, 6:30. It's going on 7. We're gonna be out here for what? 8:30. Yeah. 8:15, 8:30, somewhere around the bends. Is that good for you, brother? Okay. Yeah, read what you got.
Back to Deuteronomy 30.
No. I'll tell you what. Stop there. Read what you got again.
Isaiah 11, verse 11.
Yeah.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people.
No, read where you left off at. There was a point where you was going into how the Lord, when the Lord comes, he's going to come with the angels and the angels.
Oh, yeah. Matthew, man.
Oh, you was reading that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, read that again. And that's who, and see, this is the thing, man. See, the people that society looks down on is the same people that the Lord chose,
right?
And who he's only coming to save,
right?
See, everybody else out here, like for example, you got the Chinese. When you watch TV, they tell you that they're the smartest people, and they're this and they're that, and Esau's the smartest people. Okay, they got the highest IQ, but guess what? The Lord ain't choose them.
Yeah.
You see, because guess what? They're not under the covenant. The Lord don't care about how smart you are. It's really the true smart people. The smartest people on the planet is our people. Okay, we're people of knowledge, man. You're going, bro.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. You're going. Read that.
Matthew 24, verse 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn.
And then shall all the tribes of men mourn. Before, give me Revelations 11 and 12 now. 13 actually.
So Revelation 11 and 13. And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the power of heaven.
Keep going.
Verse 14. The second war is past, and behold, the third war cometh quickly.
Go on.
Verse 15. And the seventh angel sounded, and there was a great voice in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord,
Right.
and of his anointed, and he shall reign forever and ever.
So if you notice, right, when the brother read about the third world coming quickly afterwards, it made mention of the kingdom coming afterwards. Because when Yahweh Shai comes back, he's gonna come back and set the record straight and initiate his plan and his program, which is his kingdom, which is going to be stored on earth. Okay, this entire society or this empire that we call the revival of ancient Rome, the so-called white man's empire, is going to be blown to smithereens, and the Lord Yahweh Shai is going to establish his empire. Okay, go on, brother.
Verse 16. And the 24 elders which sat before the Most High.
That's talking about the angels. Okay, because you got certain angels that are amongst the Most High. Go on.
Which sat before the Most High on their seats, fell upon their faces and worshipped the Most High, saying, we give thee thanks, O Yahweh, power almighty, which art and was and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee thy great power and has reigned.
Because the Lord has reigned and brought forth righteousness. Because when we get back in power, what we're going to do is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to enforce the laws of the planet, which is within the Bible. Okay, and the reason why this society is all jacked up, the reason why people are diseased more than likely than ever before, people are dropping dead of cancer, etc., because the laws of God are not being initiated. Okay, when you don't initiate the manuscripts of the Heavenly Father or enforce that, guess what? There's a consequence. Okay, like for example, if somebody smacked you upside the head, you're gonna smack them upside the head. Okay, you're not gonna just stand there, nah, it's cool.